Hi, everybody. This is Brad Gilman. I'm here today to talk to you about something very important in my life. It's called goal setting, and it should be important in your life as well, as it will help you go where God has called you to go. This is going to be part one of many, but today we're going to start on part one, and we're going to talk about the steps to setting goals. All right, so let's dive right in there. Understanding goals. The why. Why is it important to understand goals? Well, before we can just talk about setting goals, we have to understand why we would set goals. So my question for you is, why do we set goals? And I'm going to share some answers with you. We set goals to measure ourselves by. A goal is something to measure ourselves by. We also set goals to have a target to hit. We also set goals because there's something to push us to a greater place and grow in the process. We do this to help us achieve something we have been unable to achieve. And let me give you an example of that. If you want to lose weight, and I will talk about that in part two, then we need to make sure that we put a goal in place to help us lose the amount of weight that we want to move, right? Okay, so we set goals to help us achieve something we have been unable to achieve. Now, let me give you one of a famous quote, a great quote. Successful people set goals, okay? Successful people in life set goals. All right, so what are goals? Goal setting is so powerful. And it's powerful because of what it helps us achieve. So I'm going to say, what is a goal here? And I'll say a goal is the object of a person's ambition or effort, an aim or desired result. An example of that would be is if you want to be a lawyer, you have a goal to be a lawyer, then part of that goal is you're going to have to go to law school to achieve that goal. That's just part of it. You cannot be a lawyer without going to law school, without passing the bar, and there's many other steps. You have to take the law school admissions test, etc. There's all kinds of other steps you have to do to be a lawyer. So let me share this with you. Goal setting is a powerful technique for helping a mentee develop a solid foundation of future planning and organization. Aspiring to achieve long-term goals gives the mentee short-term motivation. Now, what does all that mean? Because that's a mouthful, okay? It means that if we're going to go for a long-term goal, we need short-term motivation, which to achieve the long-term goal means we need to have short-term goals along the way to keep us focused and on track. And if you tune in for part two of goal setting, I will actually dive into that and show you exactly what I'm talking about there, okay? All right, goals need to be attainable, but they also need to stretch you as well. And so what do I mean by that? Well, I'll talk about weight loss again. Listen, weight loss is a great subject for us all to talk about because so many of us struggle with that. Not everybody, but many of us do. So let me tell you about an attainable goal that's meant to stretch me. If I want to lose 30 pounds, I'm going to lose 30 pounds in the next 3 months, okay? That's a good attainable goal, but it will stretch me. If you say you want to lose 30 pounds in the next 2 weeks, that's not attainable. It will stretch you, but it's not attainable. And what will happen is you will miss hitting your goal. You will totally miss hitting your goal completely because it was not attainable. So again, I'm going to go back to this again. Goals need to be attainable, okay? But they need to stretch you. All right? So I'll use an example in the sales world for those of you who are business people. If I sold $300,000 last year, to get me to sell $1 million this year might be attainable, okay? It's probably pretty close to attainable, but it's going to stretch me. If you ask me to sell $300,000 this year and sell $400,000 next year, that goal is probably not set high enough for what I'm supposed to be doing. It really depends on your industry, but I'm talking to you about setting goals that are attainable yet will stretch you in reaching them, okay? So let me give you another great quote. Only 14% of people, it's a fact as well, only 14% of people have goals for their lives. So only 14% of people around you have goals for their lives. So if you look around you, that's about like 1 out of every 7.5 people actually has set goals, okay? So if you're watching this, I want you to set goals after this video because you're going to be in that 14%, all right? But I'm going to share you an even better number in the next slide, okay? All right, so When should I set goals in my life? There's a great guy on TV who's very accomplished in the real estate world, and he says, his name is Ryan Serhant. He says, I am in expansion all the time. He says, always in all ways. So ALWAYS, always expanding in all ways. ALL, separate word, WAYS. So when should I set goals? Always in all ways, okay? But let's start with a yearly goal first and then break it down to a monthly, a weekly, and a daily goal. Because remember, those are the goals, the monthly, the weekly, the daily goals are the ones that help us get to those yearly goals, all right? So, what areas of my life should I set goals? Well, I will tell you all areas, but I want to get real specific with you. You should start in your career, you should start in your family, and you should start in your spiritual or your church, and then also in your hobbies. So, if I'm a golfer, okay, I like to play golf, but I don't play a lot. So, if I want to be better at golf, I could set a goal that says in 6 months, I want my score to go from 105 to 98, okay? And then I can work on doing what I need to do monthly, weekly, and daily to reach that goal. That's a hobby, but I might have a goal to be a better golfer, and if I do, then I need to do a goal-setting process for that, okay? All right, so here's an even better fact for you. So remember the last slide I talked to you about? I said only 14% of people have goals for their lives, right? Well, only 3% of people have their goals written down for their lives. So do you realize that 97% of people in the world don't write their goals down? Wow. 97% of people don't write their goals down. That's a lot. That's a staggering number, okay? All right. So who should set goals? Anyone who wants to be successful should set goals. Remember I said successful people set goals. Where should goal setting take place? Well, it could take place anywhere. It could take place here in this office. It could take place out in a park. It could take place at Subway. It could take place at whatever restaurant you wanted. I don't know why I said Subway. Maybe I'm thinking about Subs today. But anyway, it could take place wherever you want it to take place. But here's what I will tell you for the most effective goal setting. Set your goals in a place where you're most creative. Okay? Now, for some of you, that's going to be picking up a legal pad like this and starting to write and do things like that. For others of you, it's going to be picking up a keyboard and typing it into your computer. For others of you, it's going to be in your cell phone or in your iPad or your tablet or whatever. But we have to set goals in a place where we're most creative. Some people, that's the beach. Other people, to be quite honest with you, it might be the toilet. Everybody has their own place where they're creative, where they're thinking about things, okay? So I want to recap some numbers for you again, okay? 14% of people who have goals are 10 times more successful than those without goals. So the 14% of people in the world who write goals, they don't write them, just have them. So for the 14% of people who just have goals, they are 10 times more successful than those without goals. Now, here's a staggering number for you. For the 3% with the written goals, so this is where I want you to be. I want you to be in this 3% category, which is going to rise to 5% if all of you get in here. But for the 3% who have written goals, you are 3 times more successful than the 14% with unwritten goals. Did you follow that? I said the 3% of you with written goals are 3 times more successful than the 14% of you with unwritten goals. Wow. So what am I telling you today? I am telling you to have goals, but even more importantly, to write your goals down or type them down or set them down, okay? And in part 2, again, I'm going to talk about how do we work with our goals once we've got them set and written. What do we do? What is necessary to help us achieve these goals, okay? All right, so there are 5 golden rules to goal setting, and I'm going to go through them with you. So, setting goals that motivate you. Most important thing is that you set a goal that motivates you. When you set goals for yourself, it is important that they motivate you. This means making sure they are important to you and there is a value in achieving them. Meaning, if I'm going to set a weight loss goal, it needs to be a value for me to achieve. Meaning, if I get healthier or I have better movement or I have less knee pain or back pain, then this is a value to me and there's a reason for me to achieve it. If there's no value for you or no reason to achieve your goal, then what's the point in setting them? So that's rule number 1 of the 5 golden rules. Set a goal that motivates you. Rule number 2, set a SMART goal. Now, what do we mean by SMART goals? Well, there's a lot of different thinking, a lot of different terminology on this. But I would tell you a SMART goal is a goal that is required for you to achieve your bigger goal. Meaning, if I want to sell $10 million this year, then my team of 5 people all need to sell $2 million. Then we need to come up with a SMART goal for each of them. How are we going to get them to sell what we need them to sell? That's a SMART goal. Getting a SMART goal is focusing in on something that is very much a part and is a mainstay in what they need to do to set their goals. All right. So the third rule in the 5 golden rules of goal setting is set goals in writing. And I just spoke with you about this. It's very important to set your goal in writing, okay? If you want to buy a house next year, but you know you need $100,000 to put down on the house, then you need to have a plan every month, every week for saving that money to get there, okay? So, rule number 4, make an action plan. We just talked about that. So we want to make an action plan, and we want to come up with, how are we going to achieve our goal? What is the process of it? And I'll talk in this part 2 of this as well, more about an action plan, okay? And then stick with it. It's very important that when we set goals that we stick with them, okay? And so often we don't want to write them down because then we're reminded of them when we fail at them or we don't complete them. But to be quite honest with you, if we will write our goals down, even if we don't reach them that time and we don't stick with them, it will give us something to focus on, to go back and to focus back on and stick with it. It helps us stay focused. Sticking with something, I need something in writing. I need something in the computer. I need something to keep me focused. I do not beat myself up if I don't reach a goal. However, I look at my goal and I say, was it too hard to reach? Was it too much of a stretch? Was it not attainable? Or do I need help from some people in reaching it, okay? All right, so how do I set goals and achieve them? Well, the first part of this is to decide. Think of something you want to do or work toward. Then the second part is to write it down, and write it down carefully. Meaning, be specific in what goal you want to achieve. Part 3 of this is tell someone. Telling someone we know about our goals also seems to increase the likelihood that we will stick with them. So I'm in a weight loss journey right now, a healthy lifestyle journey, and one of my goals to get there is to work out. Well, what did I do? I talked to my friend Omar last week, and I said, Omar, I need you to help keep me accountable to my weight loss goal. And what that means is check in with me and ask me how I'm doing each week on my exercise. Because between me and you all out there, I'm very quick to fudge numbers on a sheet of paper if it makes me feel better about a goal. But if I've got somebody I'm accountable to, I can't fudge numbers. He's going to say to me, why did you put 3 on that paper when you only told me you worked out once, okay? So we've got to find someone that will help hold us accountable and tell them about our goals. And then I think we're on part 5 here, or part 4. Break your goal down, okay? Break it down into incremental, into monthly, weekly, daily. That will help us get where we need to go as well. And then a big step here is to plan your first step. Plan your first step of the goal. So if I'm going to go on a healthy eating journey, my first step of the goal is to start, for me, with a liquid fast, okay? And as I start with a liquid fast, I need to make sure that as I plan that everything that needs to take place around that I can handle that. Meaning, does my wife know not to buy a bunch of groceries, etc.? How am I going to be with work that week? How am I going to be mood-wise? What do I need to look out for around that goal, okay? And then another step in this process is keep going. When you feel you haven't lived up to it or achieved it, keep going. Very important that we keep going, okay? And then celebrate. It is the most important part of this whole goal setting process is to celebrate our goals when we reach them, okay? Do something to celebrate. Now, if you're like me and you're doing a healthy eating plan goal, the last thing I'm going to do is to celebrate with more food, okay? That's not what I'm going to do. But I'm going to go do something and celebrate my success as I reach it, okay? And as I reach my daily, weekly, monthly goals, I'm going to do something to celebrate, even if it's just have my wife encourage me, okay? All right, so we're at the time now where I'm going to give you a summary of part 1 of goal setting. And here's our summary, okay? So goal setting is important in life to help us be more successful, all right? Goal setting helps us achieve things we normally cannot succeed in. It is important to write your goals down. Again, if there's anything you take away from this today, I want you to know that the most important thing is to write your goals down, okay? It is important to have someone hold you accountable to your goals. And if you need help in writing your goals, ask someone who has experience on how to write a goal. And I'm going to show you in part 2 how to write a goal, okay? I'm going to definitely show you that. Remember that your goals should be attainable, okay? They should stretch you, but they should still be attainable. And then the most important part of this process, other than writing down your goals, is celebrating your achievements, all right? I want you to celebrate your achievements. So often we don't reach our goals because we don't celebrate along the way as we are reaching them. So I hope that this goal setting part 1 helped you today. I hope that I brought some understanding to you about what goal setting is. And I also hope that you're going to join me for part 2 on goal setting, when I'm going to get into a practical explanation and show you exactly how to set goals. And I'm going to share with you from my own life how I'm setting goals, okay? Again, this is Brad Gilman, and we've been here today talking about goal setting part 1. And I just want to say thank you for tuning in, and I hope you'll come see us in part 2. Leave us a comment and let us know how you like this, okay? God bless you, and have a great day.